Greetings, Human Behavior 3301. I wanted to come to you, this is Professor Bold. I wanted to come to you on this screencast and discuss the next paper that is due, the case study. I know some of you have already started on this, but I've had a few questions and I wanted to clarify a couple of things for you that I think will be helpful to you. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here. I have the screen up that is where you, it says case study post here. That would be over here to the left. If you click on that, that's what I'm looking at. And this paper is due April the 11th, so we've got almost about 11 days going, and hopefully you've already been considering this paper as you've been reading along in the text. This paper does require that you have a pretty good understanding of the text, so if you have not been reading the text, you will want to do that before you write this paper. That's very important that you have kept up with some of the perspectives and theories. This course is very theoretical, of course, and so it requires that you know about the theories and understand how to apply these theories in practice. So you have just finished your ethics diversity paper, and in that paper you were to select a client, and I just want to go now to my screen with some of the clients on there. You either selected Cheryl or Melissa or Max or the intergenerational stresses with the McKinley family or Trudy or Leon. And one of the things that I had said previously, I'm going to go back here, was that you could use this case in your case study. The way that you would need to do that is because this case study is more of a macro analysis of a system. So you would need to choose a system from one of those clients if you wanted to. You can do it that way if you want to. So for example, for Leon, you could choose the system of the church. And you could analyze that from the 3 perspectives, theories, and 5 concepts. Or you could use a family, Trudy's family, Melissa's family, Max's family, and look a little bit deeper into that. You are going to have to fill in the blanks in some cases because not all the information about the family is going to be there. But you could get an idea of, for example, Melissa's family, if they're dealing with HIV, how they might respond to that. And you can use that if you want to. Or you could use the hospital system or the community system at large. How are these particular clients going to use the resources within their community? But you would have to relate that to a minimum of 3 perspectives or theories, and those are interchangeable terms, and 5 concepts. Now, if you choose to use something different, it might be something like a place where you volunteer, or it could be another nonprofit organization that you're aware of that you can analyze to get the information or to examine that social system. But the main thing to remember here with this case study is that it is about a social system, and you're actually looking at the system as it relates to the perspectives and theories and concepts. One of the things that I asked you to do was to look at your text. If you have some difficulty understanding theories, concepts, way back in the beginning, either in chapter 1 or chapter 2, there is some information there about what exactly a concept and a theory is. But just for me to explain that very briefly, you still need to read, but to explain that very briefly, the concept is the idea that led to the development of the perspective or the theory. So what are the ideas behind the theories and perspectives? What makes them relevant to your particular situation that you're analyzing? So let me begin again. You're writing a case study on a family, a group, a small organization, or a community. And you will take that system and examine it using the theories. And you need a minimum of 3 theories that includes 5 concepts. So you will go throughout your paper and you'll state the theory and then explain that theory and why you used that in this particular situation. Why do you feel like that particular theory fits this system that you're describing? I hope that's a little more helpful to you. I want to review too as we go along. Forgive me, I have a little bit of a cold this week. I'm still getting over last week. So I apologize for the interruption there. So I'm going down and I want to look here at define and discuss the perspectives and theories and concepts in detail and give examples of how that social system demonstrates each theory and concept. Okay, that's pretty self-explanatory. But you also need to talk about these issues of diversity. So we know that every one of the clients that we looked at for our diversity ethics paper had an issue of some type of diversity. When we're looking at diversity, we're looking at what are all of the different ways that these people interact with their system. And so if you're talking about a family, you're going to talk about what their race, ethnicity, social class, religion, those kinds of things are. But you're going to talk about it within the context of how does that affect that system. So with a family, how do those elements of diversity affect that family? If you're talking about a group, such as one time I had a student do a paper on Alcoholics Anonymous, and that was a small group, and they discussed the dynamics of that and the perspectives and theories that were used in that. But also they talked about the demographics of the group and how that affects the group itself. If you're looking at a small organization or a community, you're going to look at how these issues of diversity affect that organization or that community. So that should give you some direction there. Also, describing and illustrating the ways in which the social systems promote or block the achievement of well-being for the social unit that you suggested. So there's going to be, with any group, family, small organization, or community that you look at, there are going to be ways that system affects people, that system is able to promote the achievement of people and maintain the health and well-being, or block the achievement of and well-being of that social unit. So in some ways there's pros and cons, if you will, to that social unit and how these perspectives and theories interact with that social unit to promote or block the achievement and maintenance of health and well-being for the social unit. Excuse me. Also, when stating that you should consider this a work in progress, that's primarily if you were going to use the same case study as before. You could, in some ways, blend the two, I guess, for lack of a better term. But basically, take the information that you used from your previous paper and utilize some of that in this particular writing as well. It's going to be a little bit difficult to use all the way through, so probably the best thing is to just take the parts of what you've already written and maybe incorporate it in one way or another, but you won't be able to use the entire paper or anything like that, or cut and paste. It's going to have to be a real study of the perspectives, theories, and concepts as they relate to this person's family, group, or a different group, or a different family. You could even do your own family if you want to. I would encourage you to use pseudonames rather than real names if you choose to do that. That way no one gets harmed in the process. Okay, the paper must be 7 to 10 pages double spaced, and this does not include the cover sheet or the reference page. And you need to use APA format, and you must include a minimum of 3 articles from social work journals. So that's important, that you must include those articles from social work journals. Many times when we are looking for things on the internet, we can find all kinds of information, but it may not be empirically based. So we need empirical evidence provided in this particular paper. And here is the rubric, and this is how your grade will be determined. If you'll notice, obviously grammar and spelling are important. Description and application of the theories is important. And then your 5 concepts. How do you relate the theories? What I want to see is, do you know how to take one of these theories and all of its ideas and concepts and put it into practice? So when you get out in the world and get your first your job, that you would be able to say, yes, I'm utilizing the theories that I've learned in a practical setting. So that's the basis of what I want to see, is do you understand what the concepts are and how to relate them in a practical setting of a community or a family or an organization. And diversity is very important here, and then promotion of well-being. And is there substance? Is there depth here? I want to see that you know how to really relate things. It's not enough just to say, well, this theory relates to this family, and that's it. You have to say because, or I see, the relationship here. Now, of course, you're not going to use first person. You're going to write objectively and use third person. I think that is all that I have to show you. This was a little bit of a lengthier video than I had intended, but I wanted to provide some additional explanation there. And I'm hoping that will help with any of the questions that you had, and that you will continue to email me with your questions as well. And I am going to be reading the diversity ethics papers starting now, and it may take me some time, but I look forward to reading those and to reading this case study. Have a great afternoon, and let me know if you have any more questions. Thank you.